Hey everybody, and welcome to another MrBevers Kraken Packs. Welcome back. We're going to do some Eldritch Moon today, so let's just get right to it. I like to take the packs right out of the box, get them all out of there, put them all right on the table, get this pesky box out of the way, you know? That's what I like to do. It's a thing I enjoy doing. I just put that right over there like that so it's out of the way. And let's just get right into business here. You have not missed any packs. So we're just going to get right to the sauce here. Our first flip card is a Graph Rats. And our first rare is a Gyre Reach Sanitarium. Right there. Let me just give it a quick look here. Commons, uncommons. We like to separate them. You know how it is. Flip card there is a Curious Homunculus. And our second rare is a Collective Effort. The quality is low, Bob, because I've switched up the camera view so it's not focusing in autofocus. How does that look? Does that look better? Less grainy, right? So we've got an Imprisoned in the Moon as our next rare, and a Grizzled Angler as our flip card. So we have an Eternal Scourge, which is a pretty good card. I like this guy. See, the problem with this is that when I try to focus on the card up front, give you a better look of it, it has a hard time focusing, which gives it a bit of a problem. But anyway, we'll go from there. Okay, so Eternal Scourge is a pretty cool card. He can be cast from exile for 3 mana. And whenever they try to remove him or do anything like that to him, he just gets exiled, which means you can just play him again, which is kind of cool. And it looks like there might be an extra card here. You can see there's 4. So what do we got? Well, we got a Voldaren Pariah flip card, rare. So she's a 3/3 for 5 flyer. Sacrifice 3 other permanents. She also has a madness cost. She flips into the Abolisher of Bloodlines, which is flying when this creature transforms into Abolisher. Bloodlines, target opponent sacks 3 creatures. Not terrible. Well, Bob, if I had the funding for that, I would do it. If I had the funding to get a better camera just for my Kraken Pack streams, I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat, man. There's our commons. Uncommons. We got a Sigarda's Aid here. Stop focusing on that stuff. Focus on this guy. There it is. So then we got a Midnight Scavengers, which is kind of cool. We can show you that little kind of curious little thing. So this is the combo, these two guys, the Graph Rats and the Midnight Scavengers. I'll show them up close here. These guys flip into this guy right here. There he is. Chittering Host. It's a neat little mechanic that Wizards has come out with this time. It's interesting. I don't know how it's going to be handled in things like tournaments and stuff, like, because a lot of people use sleeves on their cards. If I come to your work, I can borrow one of yours. All right, Bob. Sounds like a deal. So we've got a soul separator here. It's an interesting little artifact. Let's see if it can focus on the text here. It's a lot of text. Come on. Hey, it's close. Sacrifice soul separator, exile target creature card. It's an interesting little guy. And a Kessig Prowler as our flip card in that pack. Sorry I'm a little late today, getting started on the stream of the Kraken packs, but so we got a foil Terrarion, which is kind of cool, and our flip card is a Vildan Pack Outcast, and our rare is a Mausoleum Wanderer. Not a bad little card. Man, the focus is so bad when I do up close. He's a nice little guy. I mean, like, I would love to see a Liliana. I would love to see Tameo. Those would be cool to see. I mean, obviously, there's Emrakul is in this set again. It'd be cool to see him as well. So let's see here. We got another foil. We got a foil Sigarda's Aid. So there's our foil rare from our box. It's an interesting enchantment. I don't know if it's going to see any play. And we got an Ulvenwald Captive. It's interesting, actually. Every single flip card we've gotten so far has been different. There's no duplicates yet. And we got a Lupin Prototype. Robot Wolf. Robot Wolf. We're trying to keep the video down. You can use an old camera, just use white background and a bright light. Yeah? There's our first duplicate flip card. And we got a Collective Brutality as our rare there. It's an Escalate card for 2. Right? Discard a card, which is kind of cool. Turns on your Madness. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose an instant or sorcery from it. They discard it. Target creature gets -2, -2. Target opponent loses 2 life. You gain 2 life. Not shabby. Not too shabby. Another Graph Rats. We got a Thalia, Heretic Cathar. She's an interesting little card. She's the promo by the box card this time, so when you buy a box, you get a promo of her on release weekend. She's interesting. She's a 3/2 for 3 with first strike, and creatures and non-basic lands that your opponents control come into play tapped, which is kind of crazy. We got, okay, so we got an additional flip in this pack. It's a Descent of Perfection, or Docent of Perfection. Oh, this is the little guy that, okay, so I was looking for this guy. Yeah, Bob, I'm going crazy fast because I'm trying to get YouTube videos, and they need to be under 20 minutes, essentially, right? So we're trying to pick up the pace a little. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, put a 1/1 blue human wizard creature token onto the battlefield. This guy's looking really cool for me because I'm looking to... I have a wizard deck already. And so he popes out little 1/1 wizards, which is cool. And then if you flip him, wizards you control get +2/+1 and have flying. So your wizards all become essentially... Delver of Secrets, which is kind of cool, a 3/2 flyer. But any other wizards you have in your deck also become +2/+1 in flyers. That's super cool card. I'm super glad I picked that guy up. I'm really gonna... Oh, there you go. So this is one of the more pricier cards in the set for rares. Eldritch Evolution. Eldritch Evolution, I should say. As an additional cost, sack a creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less, where X is 2 plus the sacked creature's converted mana cost. Put that card into the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Then you exile this card. 3 mana, sorcery speed, sack this guy, go get a bigger guy. It's not terrible. I feel like people are going to find ways to break it. Especially if they have ways to cast it at instant speed out of their hand, which I don't see there being a problem with that in some formats. We have a foil Lashweed Lurker. This is an emerge cost guy. The emerge is the new thing in this set. Okay, so we got an Oath of Liliana here. Not a bad little oath. This is the one of the oaths that they didn't print in the last set. The only oath they didn't print in Battle for Zendikar was the Black Oath, and here it is. So, when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacks a creature at the beginning of your each end step. If a planeswalker enters the battlefield under your control, you get a 2/2 black zombie as well. So it's not a bad little oath. Not a bad little oath. Midnight Scavengers, and we got a Bedlam Reveler, a Bedlam Reveler, little devil guy. Can you save packs? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by can you save? Because the bot says save. So he costs 1 less for each instant or sorcery in your graveyard. He has prowess. When he enters the battlefield, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. But he's 8 cost for a 3/4, which is kind of crazy. I mean, he costs 1 less for each instant and sorcery, but if you manage to get 6 instants and sorceries in your graveyard by turn 2 to be able to cast this guy for 2 red, I don't know what you're doing, but it's crazy. It's crazy. The art is really cool in this set. I really enjoy the art, the way they took the art in this set. It's very, very Eldritch horror, which is kind of cool. We got a foil here. Our foil is an Iron Rites Cleansing. Our flip card is a Graph Rats. And we have an Ulvenwald Observer as the rare. So let's just see if we can get that focused. Come on, focus. Come on, camera. Work with me here. There you go. A 6/6 for 6. Creature you control with toughness 4 or greater dies. Draw a card. Not a bad little card. Not a bad little card. We're going to just move these over. These are the cards we care about at the moment. This is just kind of the rares kicking around. We're not doing like an overview of the cards or anything. We're just kind of going right to the sauce. Check the rare, check the foil, check the flip card. Technically, I'm going to push all these flip cards up now. Oh, there's our first mythic. Okay, not a bad one. I'll show him up in a little second here. So, Decimator of Provinces. He's pretty cool. I like him a lot. Come on, focus. Focus up here. There you go. So he's a 10 cost, but he has 3 green and 6. Emerge. He's a 7/7 with Trample and Haste, and when he comes into play, creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Trample until end of turn, which is pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. What card do I want the most? I don't know. I definitely want a Liliana. I definitely want a Tameo as well. I mean, I'm not going to complain if I get a Gisela as well. Cryptolith Fragment as our flip card. And Spirit of the Hunt. The other thing too, Bob, is that I haven't really looked at the set a lot yet, so I don't know what's good, what's not. Flash, when Spirit of the Hunt enters the battlefield, each other creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf gets +0/+3. Interesting. It's an interesting little card. Put that guy there. We'll start another row of rares here. If you're just joining us, we're kind of just doing a quick blast through these packs. I'm trying to get my YouTube videos. Another Spirit of the Hunt. 2 in a row. 2 in a row. 2 Spirit in the Hunts in a row. My goodness. Dear me. Dear me, I say. They reprinted Prey Upon. I really like the art on it. It's really cool. It's a cool throwback to the previous version of Prey Upon, where it was a werewolf hunting a human. Only this time it's like an Eldritch werewolf hunting a werewolf, which is kind of cool. So we got an Ulvenwald Captive as our flip card. Our rare here is Assembled Alphas. Alright. Okay, so we got an additional flip in this pack. You should verify account to remove the 15-minute time limit. Oh, I've already verified my account. And there's not a 15-minute time limit, Bob. It's just when you post these types of videos on YouTube, like Kraken Packs, people tend not to watch them if they're longer than 20 minutes, which is not really ideal for me, right? So whenever this guy attacks, put a 1/1 dude, and it flips into half of a township, which you haven't seen. We haven't seen it yet, so maybe we'll get there, maybe we won't. But here you can see what that legendary guy is. He's a Trample Haste 7/4. That whenever he attacks, you put 2 3/2 colorless guys on the battlefield, tapped and attacking, which is crazy. It's crazy. Oh yeah, right. That was an additional flip. So we have Conduit of Storms here as well. And then our rare here is another mythic, which is Mind's Dilation. Whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. So there it is. We're piling up the commons and uncommons to the side. Try to make it a little quicker, you know. So we got a foil in this pack. It's a Noose Constrictor. Little guy. Our flip card is an Angler. And we got a Spell Queller. I really like this guy. He seems really cool. So he's a 2/3 flyer with Flash that when he enters the battlefield, exile target spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. When Spell Queller leaves the battlefield, that exiled card's owner may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So the idea is that you can pretty much exile any spell off the stack for 3 mana, which is kind of cool. Yeah, the spell has to be 4 or less, but not a bad little thing. Like, I mean, it's a counter spell that gives you a 2/3. Have you been getting foils? I have 5 so far. Right here. These are the foils. We got a foil Forest. Speaking of foils. There it is. We got a Shrill Howler. We got a Collective Defiance. So again, the collective spells are the spells that they've sort of released for this set. There's one for each color. They escalate, so they all have an escalate cost. Some of them are all different. Like this one's pay 1 more mana for the escalate. It allows you to choose more than one option on the card. So target player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws that many cards. Collective Defiance deals 4 damage to target creature. Collective Defiance deals 3 damage to target opponent. So, I mean, Collective Defiance is essentially like an interesting way for red to draw cards if they have nothing worthwhile in their hand. You know, discarding, 3 lands. If you just have a whole bunch of lands in your hand, discard 3 lands, get 3 more cards. Not a bad thing for 3 mana. So we've got a Scavengers. Okay, and so we've got a mythic, another mythic here. Nahiri's Wrath, which seems like a pretty cool card. It only lets you do it to creatures and planeswalkers, which severely nerfs its craziness. But also, it lets you split it up all over the place, which is interesting. Um, and it turns on your madness like nobody's business, and red is all about the madness, let me tell you. Um, I see this card seeing play in Standard, but I don't know for sure. But I feel like it's gonna be big. It's gonna be a big one. A Bloodhall Priest is our rare in that pack. Yeah, this isn't magic, right? Or no, wait, what's the quote? It's madness. This isn't madness. This is Magic the Gathering. Oh, okay, so we got another mythic. That's 4 mythics out of this box. It's Tree of Perdition. This is an interesting tree. It's exchange target opponent's life total with Tree of Perdition's toughness. So, essentially, you can give someone 13 life. I see this card being played in my buddy has a Triskaidekaphobia deck, and giving someone 13 life, instant speed, when it's about to be your upkeep with Triskaidekaphobia on the table seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. Now, obviously, that's a very cute combo, Tree of Perdition and Triskaidekaphobia, and your opponent will see it coming a mile away, but it still doesn't mean that it's not fun. An Eldritch Deep Fiend. This guy's kind of cool. I like this guy. He's an 8 cost with Flash. He has a Merge for 2 blue, and sack a creature if you want. But he taps 4 permanents when he comes into play. That's a lot of permanents. 4 permanents is quite a number of permanents. My buddy played it against me in a casual game of Magic after the pre-release, because he got one in his pre-release set, and he put it into his deck and played it against me, and I went, oh, well, I guess I can't do anything about the thing that you just did to me. And he was like, nope. And I was like, okay. Ho! There she is. There she is. So there's a Gisela, the Broken Blade. Super cool. I got a Bruna in my pre-release pack, so I'm happy about that. Gisela is a 4/3 for 4 with Flying First Strike and Lifelink, which is absurd just on that. Let's stop there. Oh, what? There's more? Okay, let's talk about the more. There's more here, which says, at the beginning of your end step, if you both own and control Gisela the Broken Blade and a creature named Bruna the Fading Light, exile them and meld them into Bruzella, which is this one. Now you can't see what she does because I don't have the bottom half of the card here, which is unfortunate because I don't remember what she does. But that's super cool. I really like that. That's a nice little pickup. Yeah, that's 5 mythics in this box, which is not bad. And since she's a flip card, that means there's still another rare in this pack, so let's see what we got. Okay, we got Emrakul's Evangel, which is... he's an interesting little card. He's not really worth much. You sacrifice him and any number of other non-Eldrazi creatures, and you get that many 3/2s, which are Eldrazi's. So it's not bad. He might be, he's not worth anything right now, but doesn't mean someone won't find a way to break him to make an Eldrazi deck later. Who knows? They're really pushing the 3/2 Eldrazi tokens this time, I noticed. So, there's that. We got a Thalia's Lancers in this one. So this is a 4/4 for 5 with First Strike. And when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a legendary card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Which seems pretty good. Going and searching for a legendary card is pretty good. You could go get your Gisela. You could go get your, I believe, Thalia. Yeah, Thalia is a legend as well. Like, there's quite a few cards that you could go and get with that card, which is not terrible. Not terrible. And not to mention, in Standard, he gets a whole bunch of things. Whole bunch of things. Go get your Ulamog. Go get your Emrakul. whatever you need. Whatever your little heart may desire. So we got a Selfless Spirit, which is a 2 mana cost, 2/1 flyer. Sacrifice this guy. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. That's kind of a nifty little get out of jail free card. What's that? You're going to destroy my board? Well, just kidding. You're not going to destroy my board at all. Sorry about that. Sorry about everything, friend. Okay, so we got a foil Choking Restraints. We got a Vilden Pack Outcast. And we got a Huron's Grace Champion. This guy's a little nifty green-white human knight. Which, you know, green-white humans was a thing that happened quite recently. Flash, lifelink. When he enters the battlefield, other humans you control get +1/+1 and gain lifelink until end of turn, which is pretty nice. He's a pretty good top end for a human, a white weenie, green-white human deck. I can honestly say. I mean, for 4 mana, giving all your little dudes +1/+1 and lifelink really lets you stick around in the game longer if you need to. It's a fair number, Bob. I mean, 5 mythics in one box is pretty good. So we got a Graph Rats in that, and then we got our rare is a Permeating Mass. This card, when I read it the first time, I went, what? So when it deals combat damage to a creature, that creature becomes a copy of Permeating Mass. So say they swing you with a 3/3, and you block it with this. Your guy dies, but their 3/3 becomes a 1/3, and then you swing in with your 4/4. Their 1/3 dies, but your 4/4 becomes a 1/3. It's kind of this weird thing that goes back and forth. And if you're swinging with things or have things that are lower than this, you end up like getting in this weird situation where maybe you don't kill their Permeating Mass. Maybe you don't kill it. And then now the board is just filling up with Permeating Masses. And that's just a weird thing. Starting off with a strong box. Yeah, I guess. I mean, why not, right? Start off with the best box, end with all the terrible things. So, we've got a Smoldering Werewolf. A Harmless Offering. This is a card that everyone's sort of like looking at. Everyone's excited about, I guess. There's not really, in my opinion, enough for this card to be good right now. Let's see if we can get it to focus. There we go. So a little kitty cat, but it's got a snake tail. It's got a snake tail. Target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. So you can hand them off whatever you like, and maybe it's good for them, and maybe it's not so good for them. But, you know, the only one that's sort of kicking around right now is, what, Demonic Pact, I think is the card that everyone's talking about, where you can use up the charges and then pass it off to somebody. It's not really... There's not really enough other things, in my opinion, to be worth playing that card at this point in time, but listen, it doesn't mean that other people won't find ways. So we got a Distended Mindbender. Mindbender? Yes. A lot of text on this guy, too. He's an 8-cost 5/5, but he has a Merge, 2 black and 5. When you cast this guy, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose from it a non-land card with converted mana cost 3 or less, and then a card with 4 or greater, and they discard those cards. So it's basically getting to take 2 cards out of their hand, but you don't get to take 2 high cost and 2 low cost. You only get to take 1 of each, which is, you know, can be good, but can also be bad, right? Depending on what your opponent has in their hand. The new land that lets you, instead of discarding cards, put it on top of your library seems like an interesting thing. I don't know if anyone's going to find a way to break it or not, but I don't pretend to think I know the meta. So we got another Battlements. Did we get... Oh no, we have the 2 guys now. There it is. So these guys go together like this. And they flip over to become this big jerk. This big jerk. There he is. So those 2 guys go together. The land is kind of interesting. It adds a colorless. It also has the ability to pay a red, target creature gains haste. And then if you pay the 5, if you have this guy as well, You get the big guy, the big man on campus. So that was an additional flip in that pack. So that means our rare here is a Dark Salvation, which is a card that lets you, target player puts X 2/2 zombies on the battlefield. Then up to one target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each zombie that player controls. The thing that's interesting about this is that you can give those zombies to another player if you want. You certainly can. Target player puts X 2/2 zombies on the battlefield. So I feel like that card might see some play in some cooperative formats and or multiplayer game formats. It's an interesting little idea. We got a Lone Rider as our flip card, and our rare in this pack is a Newscraft Mob, which is nothing super exciting. Enters battlefield with 5/1/1 counters on it, so it's a 5/5 for 6. Whenever a player casts a spell, remove a 1/1 counter from him. If you do, put a 2/2 zombie on the battlefield. Not necessarily terrible for a zombie deck, but also not amazing. We're down to the last 2 packs of this box. We still have another box to go, so stick around for that. We got a foil here. A foil Graph Rats, so that's cool. Foil flip cards are really neat because you get the foiling on both sides. Super cool. So we'll put that guy there. It's a little foil man. And then we got another Claw Werewolf. And our rare here is another Mythic. Wow. That's got to be the only other 2 to make 1 card other than Bug Fury Monster from Unglued. Yeah, the big furry monster. I was wondering, I was like, Bug Furry Monster? I don't know what that is. So there's this guy, and this is an interesting card. I know a lot of people are interested in making this card into a commander, which is interesting. Oh, let's get the focus. Come on, focus! Focus! There it is. So we've got Reach, Delirium. If there are 4 more types, you get 3/1/1/2 spiders. And you pay 7, they lose 1 life for each spider you control. So this card's been seeing play today in SCG. Okay, cool. Doesn't really surprise me. I mean, he's a 3/5 with Reach for 5, which is pretty good to begin with. If you have Delirium, you also get 3 1/2s, even if you don't use his 7-cost ability. That's pretty good value. Like what? Like, so you get something with 6. You get 6 power total, and you get 11 toughness for 5 mana. Like, I mean, I don't even... That's just crazy. We have 6 mythics in this box. That's 1 mythic every 6 packs. That's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Okay, we got a foil Steadfast Cathar in that pack. And our last rare, Providence. It just seems like a card that is not really that inspiring to me. A 7-cost card, sorcery speed that gives you 26 life. Or it makes your life total become 26, I should say. It doesn't give you 26 life, it just makes you be at 26. So, I mean, it can be a huge life swing if you're down really low. Because, I mean, say you're at, like, 2 health and you play this, you basically gain 24 life. That's not bad for 7 mana. But at the same time, if you're having to cast this for 7 mana because you're at 2 life on turn 7, things were already looking pretty bad for you. It might give you another turn, maybe 2 more turns. But hopefully, you know, like maybe that's not enough. Who knows? And then the ability where it's like, you know, if you reveal it in your opening hand, you get 26 at the beginning. Getting 6-point life at the beginning of the game, sometimes not really relevant. Sometimes relevant, other times not really relevant. So I mean, overall, this box seems pretty good. I don't know really the prices of things at this point in time, but I know that Eldritch Evolution is pretty pricey. I know that Gisela is pretty pricey. We didn't see any Planeswalkers, which is unfortunate, but you know. And I think the rest of these mythics are all kind of in the $4 or $5 range. If Ishkana, the Gloom Widow or Graph Widow, was seeing play today in SCG, its price will probably spike now. That's the problem with the cards at this time going for value. The prices are all over the place because people don't know what's going to get played. People don't know what's going to work, what's not going to work until they play it in tournaments and people see it, right? So that's it. That's not bad. We got a Gisela out of it. We got a foil Chittering Host, half of a Chittering Host, which is pretty cool. I'll have to see if I have a foil Midnight Scavengers in any of the cards I've already opened before now. But that's pretty neat. I like foil flip cards are always cool because, getting the flip card, you only get one in a pack normally, maybe two if you're lucky. And so getting a foil flip card is pretty cool. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I've been your host, MrBevers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. I would really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to check out my nerdvanastore.ca site for all your single needs, and my Patreon, where you can get discount codes to that site, as well as other things like a bundle, which I'll open up on video, give you a shout out, and ship it all off to you. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and as always, may your pulls ever be better.